Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. It is so awesome to be back with you. Well, welcome to Saturday. If you're in the United States, this is Memorial Day weekend, and I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. And let's all remember those who sacrificed their lives in the service of our great country. I hope wherever you are, you're having some rest today and having time to reflect on all of that as well. Anyways, welcome to Spirit Channel. For those of you who are new here, this is our Saturday class, Spiritualist Class and Seance. Each Saturday we study the teachings of spiritualism and we hold a little seance to see what the spirit world has. And if you're new here, welcome. By the way, while you're here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you get updates and you'll be part of Spirit Channel. We'd love you to be with us each week. Each week, heck, we have videos here every day. We have our Spiritualist Class once a week on Saturdays, but on Sunday we usually have the Witching Hour. On Monday we have horoscopes. On Tuesday we got messages from the spirit world. Wednesday, Wiccan Wednesday, where we study magic. Thursday is Vlog Thursday, where we go out on the town for adventure. Friday's UFO Friday, or Free for All Friday. We have something 7 days a week here at Spirit Channel. Anyways, I'm just glad you're here, and as I said, hit that subscribe, be part of our channel. Well, we're going to continue. We've been doing a study here of Sylvia Browne. She's one of my favorite psychics, a spiritualist. Her book, Mystical Traveler. And a lot of you have been writing to me saying, Psychic Bob, I feel that I am being called to the service of the spirit world. I feel like I'm being called to step into a greater role. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that's about. Well, this book tells them about how to become a mystical traveler. Mystical travelers, when you take on the mantle of spirit service for the whole world. And I've been a mystical traveler now about 10, 11 years now. So yeah, I'm 51. So when I was 40, I took on the mystical traveler mantle, and I don't look back. My whole life has been about service to God and to humanity. And so this book, if you're interested, you should pick up a copy. I'm not being endorsed by Sylvia Browne or by Hay House, but it's Mystical Traveler by Hay House Publications, okay? Anyways, check it out. So we're going to continue today with our class, and we're here on page 52 of the chapter called Dogma, Dharma, and Karma, which is what chapter are we? Chapter 4. Okay, so that's where we are, and we're midway down the page. So if you got your books, go ahead and pull them out. Let's look here. And we're starting on the line that says educated people, midway down the page on page 52. All right, hopefully you found that by now. All right, so let's go ahead and start on this. Let's see what Sylvia writes. Sylvia writes, educated people usually know when psychological tools are being used to try to control them. But I've known highly educated individuals who seem to toss their brains away as soon as they got to these type of churches or evangelical tent shows. I know I'm on a soapbox here, but I get so angry when I see how these supposed men of God perpetuate negativity all the time. All they're doing is taking humankind's innate fear of the unknown and utilizing it to their advantage. It's sad and wrong, and takes us back to the Dark Ages when people were burned at the stake. I want to stop there just for a second because this chapter we've been talking about the role of religion and its positive and negative aspects. And what Sylvia Browne's talking about here is, there are ministers who do nothing but preach hellfire and damnation and scare everybody, fire and brimstone. How does that help people? When people get caught up in that, they're caught up in a cycle of fear. And fear makes you much more easier to be controlled. And that's why I always say here at Spirit Channel, we're about love. We're not about fear. And I tell people, I don't control your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You do what you want to do, And I think Sylvia sums it up nice. She said true spirituality consists in, this tenet, which is love God, love your neighbor, do some good in the world while you're here. And at the end of your life, when it's all said and done, just shut up and go home. That, I think, is true spirituality. But Sylvia's so right here about these churches that terrorize people. And she's right, I've seen it too. Very highly intelligent people come out of these churches literally brainwashed, terrified, and less than. You know, if you go to a church, ask yourself, you know, a lot of you go to churches or have been to churches. Ask yourself, when you come out of church, do you feel inspired for the week and uplifted? Or do you feel fearful and downgraded and denigrated? I've been in a number of churches where I've seen people come out with a sullen look because they've been told, you're sinners, you're hellbound, you need to repent of everything you've done ever in your life, and that's all you need to know. Does that message really move people forward? I don't think so. Neither I don't think does Sylvia. So ask yourself, is your church uplifting you or weakening you? That's an important question to ask. We'll continue on page 52. Sylvia writes, for some awful reason, religion has generally concentrated its efforts on emphasizing negativity and punishment, instead of trying to soothe people with positive thoughts and by affirming God's goodness and love. I suppose it's because those in charge think that everyone is prone to temptation and sinful ways, and that human nature, being what it is, will gravitate towards negative behavior. The plain and simple truth is that this planet is negative in nature, and that we all face darkness every day of our lives. But instead of trying to alleviate that darkness through love and positive messages, religion just adds to the negativity. And in all of this, to misrepresent God and Jesus Christ is the greatest tragedy of all. So let's just stop there for a second, because, you know, like Sylvia said, and I've said it too, spirit people have told me this world is a dark world. You see, we actually come, at least in the spiritualist belief, which I teach from, we come from over there, the other side. The other side is not a place of negativity, it's a place of beauty. It's where God resides. Infinite intelligence is the term I use for God. Infinite intelligence. And we all have access to infinite intelligence. Imagine if you could sit down and ask God all about your journey, your soul, and understand and know who you are. That's what we do on the other side. And we interact with others, we learn, we grow. Everything over there is an experience of growth and learning and beauty. But you see, we come down here, we separate from that beauty, and we do enter into a darkened world. Now, I don't say that to be negative or depressing, but it is part of the journey. But while we're here, our religion should help remind us of where we come from so we have the strength to get through this world. If we had life cushy on this earth, never suffered, we'd never make progress. We'd never learn. You know, sometimes people say to me, Psychic Bob, you're a psychic, and yet I see you go through struggles. How is that possible? As a psychic, shouldn't you already know and be spared all that? No. You see, my psychic abilities are not for myself. You know, if I lose my wallet, I have to go to a psychic. I can't find things for myself. So what I'm saying is my psychic ability can help you, but it doesn't help me, because if it did, I wouldn't learn my lessons. So we all are in these positions to learn to help each other, to learn and to grow, and to hopefully become better people along the way. So, you know, I think this is very important. Where are you in terms of your religion? Religion can be a good thing. It can help us to grow and to be inspired and be enlightened, or it can weaken us and take us away from what's true. You know, I think any church that abuses its members by making you feel less than, that makes you denigrated and feel guilty all the time, it's not doing God's work. That doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge our human struggles and our foibles and our mistakes. And when we do wrong, we do need to face that. But that's different than just being denigrated wholesale and made to be less than. Your religion should keep you mindful of what is true and what is good. That's where its focus should be. And I think Sylvia's really right. So if you're stepping onto the mystical traveler path, I want you to think about those messages that you're sharing with others. Are you uplifting people? Are you helping them to find the light? Or are you pushing them into darkness? Let's all work to push each other to the light. And if I help you get to the light, guess what? If I get lost, you're going to help pull me over to the light. And that's what it's really about. That's true spirituality. Anyways, we'll stop there today. I could go on 6 hours on this book, but that's a lot to think about. Well, now we're going to have our Saturday seance. And this is where I go into a trance and I channel my spirit people. Channeling is an interesting experience. If you've never seen it, don't be afraid. It may look a little strange. But what happens is that I open up myself and I invite my spirit guides to, in a sense, merge with my energy. And I give them permission to manifest through my physical body, that they can use me to manifest their voices. See, the spirit people live in the spirit world, and they can be amongst us, but we don't see or hear them because they're at a higher frequency. Channeling allows us to blend those frequencies so that they can come through into this world. So if you've never seen it, don't worry, I'm fine. I am not being possessed. See, possession is an involuntary force where a spirit forces its way into somebody and controls them against their own will. Channeling is not possession. Channeling is a partnership. I have trust in my guides. They have trust in me. And we work together. We cooperate so that good can be done. That's what channeling is. So I'm going to get ready and go into trance here. So if you were in my house, which really in a sense you are, I'd say pull up your chairs here. Let's have a little circle. We're all going to sit in a circle together. And I'm going to go into trance and see what the spirit people have. So hold on just a second and we'll be back. All right, guys. Well, I've brought the lights down. When I channel, I like a dimmer setting. That just helps me to go into my trance state more easily. Not every psychic has to do it that way, but a lot of us prefer a softer lighting. So I'm going to go into trance here. Now, if you've never seen trance channeling, as I said, what's going to happen is when I'm in a trance state, the spirit guides literally overshadow my consciousness and speak through me. So the voice that will come through me is not me. It's from somewhere else, from my spirit guides. It's their voices. So I'm detached from the process. And as I say, it's always an experiment. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad you're here. So I'll see you when I get back. Oh, there we go. I think we're in the body now. Oh, greetings to you. This is Fletcher. It's so wonderful to be back with all of you today. Well, I tell you, we got our friends back here in the spirit world. We wanted to talk to you. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of beautiful soul glow among the earth today. People are thinking of the higher things. And from our world, we can see the light glowing around their souls. Know that as you think, so you are. And that's an important thing. So keep your mind on the higher things. Live in love and let the spirit world guide you. Well, I'll be stepping out of the body. I'm going to let some other people through. This is Fletcher, over and out. I do believe I have chained the body, Fletcher. Greetings to those of you out there. I hope that you can hear me. My name is Alfred. I have to say that Fletcher is right. There is a lot of mental activity today directed towards the spirit world, particularly in Europe and in the United States. I have noticed that many of you are honoring your war dead this weekend. There are many rituals occurring around the earth, and many souls here in the spirit world are giving rapt attention to the earth at this time. It is a time, Memorial Day, when the two worlds can meet. Those of you who never think of death are drawn to reflect on what it means to be alive or to be dead. For some, this is a holiday simply for picnicking and decorating tombstones. But the deeper meaning is that we must reflect on what it means to be alive or to be dead. The truth of the matter is that in the spirit world there is eternal life. On earth there appears to be death and decay and destruction. But know that that is only a temporary part of your reality. All the soldiers who have died in your various wars are still alive. They reside here in the spirit world. Some of your ministers will say that they are heroes, and they will say some are saved and some are lost. But from the spirit world's perspective, all life is sacred. I lived during the time of World War II, and I lived in Cambridgeshire. I was directly, not fortunately, in London during the Great Blitz, but I was aware of the bombings around the country. In those days, we used to say, our soldiers are good, the German soldiers are evil. It is true that Hitler brought a great evil to the earth. He taught a doctrination and indoctrination of superiority, of racial superiority. It made people lose their focus on light and become enmeshed in the material world. Many of those who fought in the war on the German side, I have found over here in the spirit world. They are not evil people. They were simply mistaught and misguided. When a soul that is misguided, such as a Nazi, comes to the spirit world, it must face the truth of what it has experienced on the earth. There are Nazis here who were high-ranking members of the Nazi Party. Not all of them were put in purgatorial darkness. Some of them were brilliant minds who simply did not understand the reality of what they were engaged in. And when they were given their life review, they were humbled, almost broken, I should say even, by the reality that they had participated in something so evil. For souls such as these, there is opportunities for reform, for service to those who remain on the earth. Many people on the earth would be shocked to know that those former Nazis are in service to help repair the damage that they did on the earth. It is generational damage, for though there are not many survivors these days of the Holocaust, their relatives are still impacted by that horror. And so generation after generation has experienced the horror of the Holocaust. And some of the men who put it, and women who put it into motion, are still reeling from the effects here in the spirit world. And so those who have created much damage on the earth will be given opportunities to make amends. And so know that not all the Nazis are in the pits of hell as one might wish. No, the spirit world allows you a chance to reform. It is taught in your earth on the Spiritualist Church that the doorway to reformation is never closed. And this is true. It is never closed against any soul on the earth or in the hereafter. So you must raise your mind beyond the simple judgment of hate and love and good and bad, and understand that the soul is working out many things. And even here in the spirit world, that which we termed evil on the earth will be given a chance to make recompense, to do penance, and to enliven and begin again on the journey. This is the veritable mercy of God. As humans, we would judge the Nazis and say, evil, they should be destroyed. And in the earthly sense, they are judged and are destroyed. But in the heavenly sense, in the spiritual world, even these souls will have an opportunity to right what they have made wrong and to help those who they have damaged. So try to consider when you discuss a war and the various conflicts that the higher power is in charge. Give your light and love to this power. Let it illumine you so that you yourself will not walk the path. It's very easy, especially in Western Europe and in the United States, to sit in judgment, to say we are the victors, we have the right, we have the might. But understand that each of the participants in the war thought that they were doing the right thing. Though we know clearly where the demarcation is between good and evil, each side at times have crossed that line. And so do not sit in judgment, for as you judge others, so shall you be judged. The words of the Christ are very true in this matter. If you sit in judgment of others, you yourself shall be judged. So we must set aside our prejudices and hatreds and understand that we are on a journey of the soul. And if we can come back to what is true, what is eternal, not temporary, then we shall have peace in our lives. If we wish to have peace in the world, we must start with peace within ourselves. Connecting to your true self, your spiritual self, connecting to infinite intelligence will illumine your mind, that you will not walk the path of darkness. And so many throughout the various conflicts on the earth who have come back to the spirit world have been given opportunities to again begin their journey, a journey towards the light. Fletcher is informing me that there are others who wish to speak, so I shall step from our medium's body. My name is Alfred. Greetings, my dears. This is Rose. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be back with you. Do you know, when I listen to Alfred speak, I cannot but be brought back to those war years myself. Many of you know that I lived in London during the Blitz. I was in the West End. We did not have it as rough as those in the East End. But I do tell you, I did see the German bombers fly over and drop their bombs. We saw the explosions. We lived through the blackout. Do you know, on the earth they are celebrating the day of Memorial Day for those who have died. And you know, over here, many of the old soldier boys from the war have gathered. Oh yes, they wear their old uniforms and have celebrations and reunions. Many of those who lived during my time are no longer on the earth, and so those who would tell the tales of the truth of what happened during the war have started to fade from the earth. We of the spirit world do not ever wish that their stories of sacrifice be forgotten. Many souls entered the earth and found themselves in times of trouble. With the rise of Hitler, many of the youth questioned what was morality, what was good, what was evil. World War II, as destructive as it was, allowed many souls to discover within themselves the truths of the spirit world. When faced with possible death, one must take life more seriously. They came to question, what is good? Is Hitler good? Is Churchill good? Is Roosevelt good? What is good in the world? Is Stalin good? All of these questions were asked by this generation. And fortunately, many rose to feats of courage. You know, I knew one of the pilots who defended London during the Blitz years. He was a brave soul, and he's here in the spirit world now. But he has told me, he said, Rose, he said, I let go and knew that God was in charge. He said, many of us in the Royal Air Force had an understanding that God would protect our nation and protect our people. And he said, we truly didn't just say it. It was not just a trite saying. We knew it somehow deep in our soul. And he said it gave us the courage to go battle face to face with the Germans. He said it was a bit terrifying. You cannot imagine, he told me, what it's like to fly in a small little airplane and be shot at with machine guns from another airplane, mid-flight fighting. He said it was most terrifying. Our planes would dive and spin, and we would see bombs released, and he said, we fought to the very death, and many of us died. He died during one of the bombing raids during the Blitz. He said, we rose our planes to fight off the attack, and he told me that he crossed into a place where he said he was in a spin and he knew that it was all over. And I said, what would you do in a moment like that? I said, you know, my death was much more simple. He said, I knew that I had given my best. And he said, I gave myself to God in that moment. And I thought to myself, what a brilliant man he must be. How brave. But you see, our generation, the World War II generation, we didn't have as much in the material way as many of you do today. Oh yes, it's true that I came from a wealthy family, but I was an exception to most. And do you know, what inspired me was not people's wealth so much, but when I saw our boys in blue, our airmen and our soldiers, our Royal Army and Air Force, I thought, what is it that inspires them to go out into these dangerous situations? And since coming to the spirit world, I've come to understand. They knew what truth was. They knew goodness. They knew what light was. Oh, they weren't necessarily taught it in church. It was an innate knowing that comes from the spirit world. The spirit world infuses in each soul a slight memory. Though it's true we come to the earth and we are temporarily amnesic from the veil being put between us. Deep within, that knowledge of why we're here is still with us. So if you're in a time today of your own life, you say, Rose, I've lost my way. I could never be as brave as the soldiers of World War II, of the fighter pilots. I could never do that. Oh, my dear, each of you have it within you to be a hero. The power of the divine resides in you, and each of you are sparks of infinite intelligence. So know that what separates you from the great and brave souls of the World War years is that they took the time to look within and know who they are and find that light that assured them, no matter what comes from Hitler, all will be well. And so today I encourage each of you, look within, find your spark, your connection to infinite intelligence, and do your duty for infinite intelligence, and know that all will be well. My dears, I hope that we shall all pause today and remember those who sacrificed so that we might have a world of freedom. There are forces today rising in the earth who wish to take that freedom from all of us, and we may once again be called to rise in unity and to stand for the light and for truth and goodness. Do you have within you the conviction that you could stand if called in a time of need? If you doubt it, look to the heroes, those here in the spirit world who will guide you and help you. Look up a soldier that you might have known, that might have been in your family. Maybe you didn't know them, but you knew that you had a great uncle who served. Get his picture today. Call upon him, ask him to guide you. Let us take advantage of the knowledge and power of those who have gone before us, those who reside now in the spirit world. Let them help us. Do you know those who have crossed here, especially our wonderful servicemen and women, they have more power and availability to help us now than ever. So do not be afraid. Let their bravery, their examples, let their spirits guide you, and you will have power. And again, light can be restored to the earth. Never give in to fear, my dears. Stand strong, as Sir Winston Churchill said. We shall fight them on the shores. We shall fight them in the air. We shall fight them in the beaches. My dear, if the time ever comes for another war, let the spirit world guide you, and let the spirits of those who have sacrificed inspire and uplift us all. But more than that, let us pray for peace. Fletcher says the medium's power is starting to fade, so I must step from his body. But I thank you, my dears, for letting me come and share this moment with you. Let us all remember those who have given, that we might all have life, and life joyful on the earth. My blessings to you all. The power is starting to fade, and I am going with it, my dears. I love you all. Listen my greetings for this Memorial Day. My name is... Well, Tubies, I have to tell you, I love channeling. It's such a blessing. Whenever I get the chance to channel the spirit world, it really uplifts me. And I hope today that their visitations have helped you as well. You know, if you've enjoyed this, you might want to pop over to my website and check out my book, Messages from Rose. I have that and a number of other books over there, but it's at www.psychicbob.com. Check out my website. Check out my bookstore. Anyways, guys, I'm so glad you're here. Listen, if you want to get on my schedule for a private reading, I still have some readings for this upcoming week. Give me a call, 703-825-3929. That's the easiest way to reach me. Or you can write to me at my new email. And I have a new email, PsychicBobHickman@gmail.com. That link will be below. I'd love to hear from you and get you on my schedule. Oh, also one other update. Tomorrow on Sunday, we will not be broadcasting the witching hour. It's a holiday weekend. PsychBob just needs a little break. You know, I put out videos 7 days a week, and this week I'm going to have a little bit of a holiday. So Sunday I will not be doing the witching hour. But on Monday, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll have our weekly horoscope report, our astrology forecast. So make sure to be back here on Monday. But PsychBob's having a Sunday off just to relax, enjoy the weekend, and do stuff I need to catch up on. So anyways, there will be no witching hour on Sunday, but be back here on Monday. I love you guys. You rock it always. Thanks for being here. We'll see you back here on Monday for Astrology Report. You guys are best. I love you. We'll see you then. Until then, may you all always blessed be.